If you just got Harrow or you want to play Harrow, then you stumbled into the right place. I'm Toaster, I create guides for games like Warframe, and today I'm covering Harrow, and by extension, Harrow Prime. I'll be covering how to get him, as he's one of the harder Warframes to get through hell and back. Trying to get him. One easy way though is to get Harrow Prime, which is way easier if you have the relics or plat to paste on for his components. Besides that, I want to cover his abilities, augment mods, and how to play him. Also show off my build for the people who want a blueprint to start off with, but I suggest making your own build for your own fun. And you should stick until the end of the video because I'll give you 3 tips for playing Harrow that the Bible won't tell you. Also, drop a like if you want to see more of these videos. Other than that, let's get into the acquisition. Harrow's acquisition ranges from this clip up on screen to pulling out your credit card. Now these are 2 extremes, 2 digital extremes. Anyways, again, 2 extremes. You don't have to spend money to buy plat for Harrow Prime, nor do you have to get regular Harrow. Most likely and most recommended, you should get Harrow Prime grinding relics if you want to buy blueprints off of people from Warframe.market. Not sponsored, but a great Warframe tool. And want regular Harrow, whether for subsuming or actual use, you can get the systems for defection missions, B rotations, which are 6 squads, 14, etc. Those they can do are Memphis Phobos, Carousel Saturn, and Eurus Neptune. Neuroptics are from Kuva Survival Rotation C and Kuva Spy Rotation A. If you have the Kuva Fortress, which is most likely, if not, then why are you here? Why are we here? It's one of life's greatest mysteries. I mean, are we a product of some cosmic coincidence? Or is there really a god watching everything? I mean, I'm here because I like quesadillas. Anyways, to get the chassis, you need to do void fissures and kill enemies. You probably have like a billion of them. To get Harrow Prime, you need to open relics. His blueprint is a silver tier item, chassis is bronze, neuroptics silver, and systems gold. Other than that, you need materials to craft him, and like 84 hours later, he is yours. Harrow has 2 passives. First one is he has doubled overshield capacity, and he has 100% energy at the start of missions or when you respawn from being down. The first one is important for later, but the second one is pretty good because it's basically preparation, which I don't think many people use this mod, but it's pretty cool. It's okay. It's a pretty cool mod. First ability, condemn. You chain up sinners, enemies, each reinforcing your shields with a max of 3k shields or however many you get depending on your build. This is used as a CC ability, which has a conical shape. It has a conical shape that expands outwards. And next ability, penance, is what you deserve when you play Mesa Prime. So what do? You whack yourself on the back and you get a list of buffs. You get faster reload, faster fire rate, and lifesteal. You get a certain amount of duration per 100 shields. Next is thurible, or your funny priest device for doing things I cannot mention, and generating energy. You press your 3 key, or whatever you use for the insane out there, and start flying your thurible around. You'll start to increase the number right here, which is how much energy you generate per kill. You also have a bonus for headshot kills. You can stop it midway through. Also can't attack while using this ability in the charging phase, as I like to call it. Last is Covenant, which protects you and will prevent damage. And the more damage prevented, the higher the crit chance you get with a headshot multiplier. Now, I've been omitting something for the past minute or so. Penance's lifesteal, thurible's energy regen, and protection from Covenant affects teammates in this shared affinity radius, which means allies taking damage counts toward Covenant from a crit and Penance's lifesteal. Not much of a revelation, but really good to know, as you're also helping your teammates when using your abilities. But most of the time you're fighting your teammates because you got a Saren who just nukes the entire room with the press of like 3 buttons, then you're not doing anything. From experience, I was in a Sanctuary Onslaught with a Revenant Prime, and dude was nuking the entire room. I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? Just standing here, questioning my life. Anyways, thanks for the brave, from that Revenant Prime. Anyways, some tips from the tips box in this ability menu are that he benefits from other Warframe shield abilities, so anything that grants shield, casting condemn gives more shields, and in turn gives more duration for penance. Condemned enemies are easy headshots for thurible's energy regeneration. Using Covenant's invulnerability phase is great for comboing thurible with it. And you can freely move when using thurible, which is great for dodging enemies while, you can't attack. We can't talk about abilities without mentioning augment mods. First is Tribunal for condemn, which players trigger the effects of penance and thurible when attacking chained enemies, which means all the other effects you get for penance also get tacked on when an ally kills a chained enemy. Next is warding thurible. For thurible, which allies in range take 50% less damage, and each hit they take gives 1 additional energy charge. Finally, which is lasting covenant. Covenant, which headshots increase your critical chance duration for 3 seconds. To get the augment mods, you need to be max in Arbiters of Hexus or max Red Veil. You can then purchase the mods with 25k standing. So here's how I like to play Harrow. I start with thurible, generating the max energy I can, then I cast Covenant when I find enemies for the immunity, and then Penance when I'm immune, and then Condemn for shields. I keep cycling this to keep generating energy and health. It's not the most optimal, but it's certainly a great way. Generally, that is how you will play Harrow. You can do a couple things differently, like I said, but it is about the same with how you play him. Now, I want to talk about builds. I got a couple of builds for you guys, so stay a little to see what I got. I'm not using augments because I don't have them. Most of you watching most likely don't have them. Also, I can't get them since I'm not max rank for Arbiters or Red Veil. I haven't been grinding standing too much. They are really helpful though, so if you want to sacrifice a mod in these builds or any of your builds for Harrow to use an augment, I suggest doing so. Here's my first build, the main build I use for Harrow. Now, a couple of notes are Rolling Guard for survivability. These 4 mods are not maxed out because they don't have enough resources. Here should be Prime if I had it. And Aura Slot seems to be more of a flex slot for people's builds. I just use Corrosive Projection. There's always, better choices, but I think this one is the best in my opinion. This build is mostly prioritizing strength, meaning that I get more shields from Condemn, get better buffs from Penance, more energy per kill with thurible, and more crit chance for 100 damage. I really like this build for the crit. I do go for some range and duration, which are great for Harrow's abilities, making them last longer, which is what, Notice the 85 efficiency. Efficiency works somewhat for thurible if you want more energy, but overall, I don't think efficiency is too crazy and not really important, as you'll be generating a lot of energy as Harrow. I really like Natural Talent a lot because it makes casting Penance take way shorter than it needs to, and it just feels like it takes a longer time than it should to cast his abilities. Now, the weakness in my build I can see are my Aura slot. I can see something like Growing Power, Brief Respite, or even Combat Discipline as an Aura slot. Like I said earlier, the Aura slot is somewhat flexible. Next, you can interchange Rolling Guard for Adaptation if you want to. If my first build is generally balanced, this one is balanced in the sense that I'm holding an even amount of chocolate bars in my hand. Now, this build we have the same: Rolling Guard, Blind Rage, Stretch, and some others. The difference is I have more mods for duration for less strength compared to my first build. Again, more on max mods due to me not having credits or endo because I'd rather play Gambit in Destiny 2 than play Index for 6 hours straight. Off topic, but the build is about duration and strength. The crux being the 3% less range. Also notice, using regular Intensify. The reason why is at 97 and not lower is due to the Stretch mod compensating for this. If you really want to tank the range and not compensate, you can use Natural Talent or an Augment mod or whatever. This build, I would like to say, is great in solo since you won't be worrying about teammates. Now, that is all my builds. I would have a third build, but I think the 2 builds I made are good enough. Now, I will give you 3 tips, which the Bible will tell you. These tips were mentioned in the intro after a long wait. So, the first tip is to always keep Penance up at all time. This can be done by going to max shields, which for me is around 3k. If you have things that increase your base shields or give more shields, then that can be some more shields, but it's around 3k for me. We'll then have a decent amount of time depending on the build you are running. You can then recast it to increase the time, so if you really wanted to, you can have this much amount of time. Second tip is to first thing you do is channel your thurible for that energy. Just a general thing I do, and I mentioned it earlier, but you should do it. It's really good. Third and final tip is, if you can, is to subsume Hildren's Pillage, which gives easier shields, but it doesn't do CC. Crowd control for those who don't know. I'll give an extra, which if it happens and you're about to die, then panic and use Covenant so you won't die. That was all I had to say about Harrow, from the acquisition to the tips to help you out. If you found this video helpful, then hit that subscribe button and watch these videos on screen. And Toaster out.